So this is actually what I was going to recommend, is that in Divine, I guess I say this in every rank, but especially in Divine, I feel like your laning stage is really important at this point because it feels like it's what I notice when I get Divines in my game. It feels like their laning feels kind of sloppy, and decision making in the later stage of the game is pretty important, but it's really hard to make decisions when the game is really weird. So it's like your carry is like 3 minutes behind what they're supposed to be. Your mid's supposed to be strong, but they've died a couple times. The enemy, like the same deal's happening. But the decision is really easy when your carry has hit all the timings and you're like obviously able to see I am like an item and a half over their carry. We should just go. So usually I recommend that for the Divine bracket, I feel like just focusing on the laning stage really heavily is a really good way to go.
Yeah, certainly. It's just like when you're behind and you're playing from behind, your windows of opportunities might even just be like 10 to 15 seconds to like hit a smoke and go. But like everyone plays so slow
Mm-hmm.
in random pubs, so even then, like just finding those windows to try to come back a little bit is very difficult. So yeah, I agree that winning the lane is paramount.
Yeah. So in the Lich game you sent me, you said you kind of messed up the laning stage. Do you
Did you watch
know?
it?
Do you know why you messed up the laning stage?
I wasn't patient with my Ursa. I think my Ursa needed some levels, and we weren't respecting the Visage level 1.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much about right. Um,
Like my Ursa gets infinitely stronger when he hits level 3,
mhm.
and I just kind of rushed things, and he already died from first blood, ruined his lane because he had no TP on his second death.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna go load it up anyways, real quick, and show you a bit on your itemization too, because what you said is pretty much right, and some of it could be addressed with your starting items, I think. Let's take a quick look at this lane real quick, and then maybe we'll move to the
For sure.
next one.
Yeah, my first idea with Lich generally though is like I feel like he's a hero that as a level 1 is a mega bully,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I start with the extra mangoes because I feel like to give my weak level 1 Ursa lots of space, like I just want to dump as much of my mana pool into their pos 4 or their pos 3 as possible. Just kind of like I think typically with the starting items I have here, I would try to send a salve immediately
Mm-hmm.
from either the bounty runes. But I think this is a lane that I think a stick could also be considered. They cast quite a bit with Mars and Visage.
Yeah, I was gonna actually mention that too. So real quick, did you casually send a game where you play against Sir Action Slacks?
Is that real action
I'm
slacks? I
pretty sure
really
this is
didn't know.
real Sir Action Slacks.
Oh, he wasn't playing techie, so I figured it was a fake one. That
Yeah, I'm
that
pretty sure
mofo, he's ruined a lot of games of mine being techies.
that's hilarious. All
Yeah.
right, so based on what you said, I like the idea. But look, you got like 40 gold remaining, and I would say that I think this fourth mango is worth less than a salve, because a salve is pretty much an extra life when you have 600 health. So if you almost die but don't, then you salve up and you're good to go. And
Understood. Yeah, that I the value there for sure. Yeah, and again, it's like overdoing the starting items in one category. Like you can't even use those resources.
mhm.
So I
to be
definitely take
honest,
that point.
I think I would have also underestimated the Visage support here because that was a lot more damage than I was expecting
I,
too.
I griefed my Ursa. I griefed him. I nuked. I gave him more charges on the soul assumption. I thought I was doing a good thing, but no.
Honestly, same. That's the advantage of playing these like random heroes that no one sees, right? The Visage support. Who knew?
This is a Visage 3.
Oh, it's three. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I probably would have made that same mistake, and it's unfortunate he dies. But then here you are, and you're like, you can't approach the lane very much. You're gonna have to like tango for a while and play a little on the safe side.
So I kind of just go full aggro here.
hmm On one hand, I think it's good, but hang on here. Okay,
So again,
so
that
yeah,
burst damage.
that burst, yeah, it does kind of screw over the Ursa a bit. Right around here.
Probably hold the wave off the tower, right?
Yeah.
Like try to pull it
I'm
to the left so that.
I'm honestly okay with you dying if you manage to hold this wave out here until the next creep wave gets here, because then Ursa will arrive and get most of this. Now, unfortunately, they're all kind of low, so hopefully Visage doesn't get any denies. But I think
Oh
even
wait, but
just
this is where Ursa has no TP though. Like,
yeah,
can I
but
actually hold it for that long?
you don't need to hold it that long, because actually look where the creeps are. So if you just like aggroed the creeps this way up and then like back to the middle, that's like a few seconds, and these creeps would almost be at the edge of the tower. And so you
Right.
don't have to hold it for Ursa to get here. You have to hold it so that it stays outside the tower. Because then, I mean, look how quickly they die because the tower is hitting them. So now Ursa misses 3, 4, 5 creeps. Whereas if you held it outside here, maybe 1 or 2 die, but then he gets here for the last 3, and that helps him recover from these very unfortunate 2 deaths to the Visage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And you could also probably spend a bit of your money to have the Ursa bring him. I think coming for this pull is really scary. I think this is a pretty unnecessary death. What I would do instead...
Yeah, the very big misplay there.
What I do instead... At this point, he's like done the pull. So you can get like a bit of experience, but like the impact has happened. So think of it as like, okay, they denied, let's say like 4 creeps. Let's just throw it out as 4. So that's an advantage to them, but that can still be balanced out if you do the same thing. If later you do a pull and you deny 4 creeps, you're pretty unlucky.
So I could run in and like do the stack at this point, right? Instead of trying to cast a large.
Yeah, exactly. If you come and stack this, you're unlucky with the kobolds, but at least if you stack it, a stacked camp can always kill off a wave. So then later, the lane's like here, you do a stacked pull, you kill off 4 creeps, and now it's balanced out again.
Right.
And then that would just be... That'd be better than dying here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Should have tangoed that goddamn tree.
Yeah, that would have been pretty next level. But for sure, it's hard to think of that at this time.
Yeah, I don't know why I TP'd there. That was a misclick.
Yeah, no problem. I'm trying to think. This Windlace, I kind of like, and this Magic Stick, I kind of like. But then buying both of them and nothing else also means like, you know, if you take we've seen like some of the burst damage come out, right? So if that comes out once, you have a Tango, and the stick won't get its value until they cast several rounds of spells, but they only need like...
They're already dead by that point.
Yeah, you're already really low. So I kind of feel like at least one of these needs to be something else. Like maybe this Windlace. I like the idea of the Magic Stick to start getting up charges. So let's say like you change the Windlace to be maybe a Salve, maybe a Clarity, a Mango, some combination of regen, so that this Ursa, you know, is having a rough time, and you just need to keep surviving a bit, and that means you're going to need the regen.
It's pretty mean of me to grief his lane, take off the farm on the top left, and then not buy selfless items. Instead, I'm going for my own crap. So yeah. Definitely.
Honestly, at this point, we're we can almost stop. I like the idea here, and then unfortunately, I think is he die again here? Oh no, this is okay. I like the idea of blocking the camp. But honestly, instead of blocking the camp, I think stacking this is probably worth a bit more. And in fact, you can do both. You can do both. You have time. So like you come here, you hit this camp, and you drag it this way.
And run right to the large camp.
Yeah. And that way you accomplish both goals. And now, if you had stacked before, this is now like a triple stack. But as long as it's stacked once in either of those cases, so the last minute or this minute, then we're still at a deficit of like 4 creeps from their denies. We still need to look to like get a deny in, or our own like pull to like equalize it. So
I ask you a general question real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes when you do a stack small camp and they're off lane, like they might pull both heroes to contest, and then they get your stat camp as well as the wave. Like, is there? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, are there circumstances where you shouldn't try to go for the stat camp and pull?
If you're if you're getting absolutely stomped, then exactly what you said. There's a risk to stacking the camp because they might come to, even if you're not even doing a pull, you know, people don't want to waste their spells getting one small camp, but they'll use spells, especially if it's AoE, to get a stacked camp. And then even better if you've done a pull.
Mind is like Sand King and Tides. Like I generally try to shy away from doing stack camps.
Hmm.
Um, anyway,
Yeah.
here I guess under level Mars isn't too big of a deal. Visage definitely can't do much.
Hmm.
So
I would say for this game at least, it's not too big of a risk because even though Ursa is behind, he's like he's getting to level 3. You are level 3, which by the way, I wouldn't get the Sinister Gaze point. I would get a either another one in Frost Blast or the Shield, depending on how the game's going. But I think Frost Blast is usually a pretty standard play.
hmm
And then that way, when if one person comes to contest, Lich can actually bully out a lot of people by just casting like 2 Frost Blasts. Uh,
yeah,
and if they do contest, so like what you said, if they bring 2 people over to steal the stacked camp, so the wave, they're probably getting the wave anyway, so we're not too worried about that. It's the small camp that they're getting the bonus golden XP. So what I would recommend for you then in those situations, if you're like here doing the pull, can you see my cursor by the way?
I can't, but
Oh
your
no.
camera
Okay,
movement
right
I
here.
can. There, yeah, the things I can
Okay,
see.
okay. So let's say you're standing here. We can. I'll slow it down because what's happening doesn't matter right now. So you're standing here. You see them coming in to contest the pull. So you like move this way, like back here, and because your creeps are like here fighting, here fighting the camp, you can see where they are. If they keep
Yeah,
chasing you, you just back up to your tier 2. There's no way they're diving you right there. Um, and if they just farm this camp, you just like stay here. If you have a spell to try to like steal some of the last hits, you can go for it. If not, kind of whatever. Because you're splitting the XP on the small camp at least, and they're getting some too. They're probably getting them like 2/3 of it, which is unfortunate. But at least your core is getting a full wave here, uncontested.
I should
Uh,
be in like full recovery mindset at this point.
yeah, and even if you're not, like, even if this game hadn't started rough, like, this isn't too bad. Because if you think about it, 2 offlane heroes are splitting the creep wave, so it's like 2 creeps to each, and then a small camp, 2 small camps is roughly another creep wave, but
hmm
actually a little less.
Okay.
So because you're the math is getting weird, but because you're splitting a third of the small camp, they're getting 2/3 of the small camp. Both offlane heroes are getting less than your core is on his own. Now, as a whole, you
Right.
guys are losing XP because you're falling behind a little bit. But the idea of doing the pull is that hopefully 1 or 2 creeps has been denied by the time they come run over. So then it's like not so bad. Um,
Right. Right.
and that way, your core, when your core is higher level than their core, either you're going to ditch the lane because you have some bad core matchup, and then that's fine. You want them to get as many levels as possible. Or like an Ursa, Ursa can recover with kills if he starts to catch up in these levels. At this point, it's rough, but in a normal game where those like weird Visage burst kills don't happen, um, then that's like your moment. You've got the spells you need. You only need to like provide slows for Ursa once he hits like level 3.
hmm
So you don't mind that you're under leveled. You're gonna kill them. They're gonna be dead, and then you catch up on XP. Then
hmm
yeah, and I think that's let me see.
So what I'm hearing quite a bit is I need to set up for that stack earlier, like prioritize getting that over some of the other movements.
Yeah, I think I'm okay, legit. I think I got through Divine to Immortal just by being really good at pulls. I just feel like a lot of people do not react in time, and especially if you do half pulls, uh, they don't know what to do. They're like confused that only 2 creeps showed up into the lane, and by the time they walk over, those 2 creeps are dead. And you just do that a couple times, and then you're 1 level up, and the lane just goes from there. All right, let's look at this next game. So your Oracle here, Antimage against Axe Spirit Breaker, I think.
hmm
All right, so how do you think this lane should go? So before we even load in, tell me what your vision of the next like few minutes of the game is.
I think it's pretty important to keep the Axe's health low because um, he's only able to play up and aggressively on the AEM if he's not feeling like he's immediately under kill threat. I think I need to be helping AM secure all the range creeps with my Q because he really doesn't want to step too far out of position to ensure the range creep. And and I think I should be trying to stop any side pulls because same thing, it pulls both of us out of position where we're very vulnerable to getting charged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I try to keep it close to my tower to the best of my ability, and I think dump mana into probably the axe and also have my Q up to purge the battle hunger off AM as much as possible as well.
And then what about the Spirit Breaker? You briefly mentioned him. What are your thoughts on what
Well,
he's gonna do?
I know for sure I can't stand off to the side and trade with SB. It's a lost cause. 49 base damage or 44 base damage on Oracle, no chance.
It's a
SB,
lot.
I can't do too much in terms of, um, yeah, standing off to the side and hitting him. But I think I should be in the lane. Like if he's gonna play on the wave, I should at least be trying to chip him. And I think if he's playing on the wave and he sets up for a charge, I should be trying to cancel those charges.
Okay, now we're getting to the point. He's charging, right? Who's he charging? Okay, so what I was gonna say, all your thoughts are like pretty accurate, and we're gonna go more into the laning stage. But you have other teammates, right? So what does Spirit Breaker do? He's a roaming hero, so you need to think a bit about your mid lane as well. So we got to expand your views outside the laning stage here. Leshrac doesn't have an escape, and he doesn't have a way to like dodge the charge. And depending on the mid matchup, that could be bad for him. I would say it's Tiny mid, I think, and that could be pretty scary for him if Tiny walks up and just like combos him off the chain stun.
The setup, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's really important to know where Spirit Breaker is. So I think your Spirit took the ward. I would argue it's more important for you guys to have the ward and to put it
And
somewhere down here to see Spirit Breaker, because you need to give the mid laner as much time. So it's like
maybe
not.
just on the hill, like on the stair or something like that,
Yeah,
or
I'd be
just
okay
like,
with somewhere like here, or like in this corner right here is fine too,
yeah.
because that lets you see your lane. But like, it's most likely that if he wants to go mid, he either runs to the river or tries to run up this like cliff here and then charge from the back. So if I was your team, I'd probably ward here and like here.
So
But
what's the opportunity cost for the off lane? They just kind of miss out on what, like some aggressive vision for Earth Spirit setups, and I guess
yeah,
that's
exactly. But the thing is, like, they've got a Mars, right? So like Mars is gonna be playing in the lane anyways, and they're gonna like stun in the lane for the most part. And if Earth
yeah,
Spirit
yeah.
finds an AA randomly in the jungle, like it's fine, you
It's
know.
not too meaningful because it won't
hmm
net a kill, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
important, the bigger impact of the game is to see what the Spirit Breaker is doing. Now, having said that, even in my games, the offlane will still take the ward, and after I ask. But I at least want you to like, I at least want you to know that you should be thinking about it. That when you have like, especially Spirit Breaker, he's like, all he does is roam, pretty much. Um,
Oh,
and,
this one played the lane quite a bit, if I remember this
all right then.
replay.
um, but at least have it be a consideration that it's like it's kind of what they want to
Totally.
do.
Yeah, yeah. I think the Lich probably dumpsters Tiny
hmm
1v1 mid, unless he gets hope.
hmm Now for your items again, what do you think I want to?
Self.
Yeah.
Ditch a extra mango and pick up a self. I was doing a buy a while ago where I would do 3 clarities, a single mango, and then a self,
hmm
and then no fairy fire.
I
I've been experimenting a little bit with it.
I think there's like two reasons why clarity is not so great in this lane. Do you know what they are?
Battle hunger takes it off, and the spirit breaker just kind of like YOLOs me. He can just take it
Yeah.
off with the charge.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to use clarities. You'll probably get the chance to use like one clarity, but the second clarity, like two clarities, getting like full value would be hard. And like you mentioned, you kind of
Yeah,
need to be in this lane because otherwise Antimage is going to get bullied out. So you don't have too much time to always be out of the lane claritying. And if you're in the lane, the clarity's canceled. So,
yeah. That's at least what was I trying to say? Like when I was doing the 3 clarity buy that had a salve, I was
mhm.
like, this is useless. Like like
Yeah.
my clarity is like I just can't get enough value off of them.
Yeah, it used to be better when it didn't take so long, but now that they take a long time, it's less common to start with. Two is like the max that you'll usually see. So
Hmm.
I would look for a salve, either switch out this fairy fire and a clarity, or maybe like a mango and a clarity. It kind of, I don't play too much Oracle, so I'll leave it up to you. But if I was, I'd probably go with like, I don't know, maybe the mango and clarity, because I know you don't cast Fortune's End like too. You kind of do.
Kind of
Um,
do, yeah.
mm,
The what I'll say is the reason mangoes are very important on Oracle is you need the burst mana to set up your last kills. Like the way it
Mhm.
plays out when you actually commit to the kill is like you're usually like leading with an E and a Q,
Mhm.
and then like two more E's after. So like just you like the starting mana pool, even if you're like three-quarters of the way up on mana, you still need those extra mangoes to finish off those kills. Like I find at least the double mango, I feel pretty confident that it's like correct on Oracle.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, I don't know. The Fairy Fire are just experimenting a little bit. Again, I've been changing my buy a little in that, like, I think a lot of games I would start with the Salve.
Mhm.
But some of these I was just trying to see if shipping out the Salve later would add any value to the first minute or two of gameplay.
So what you actually said actually confirmed my opinion. I don't think you need the second mango. You need so your logic for needing these mangoes is that when you go for kills, you need to cast all your spells, and I agree with that. But that means like you don't have all your spells at the start of the game, so you don't quite need it right away. But more than that, the scenario for that was when you're going for a kill. How likely do you think you're going for a kill as Oracle AM versus Spirit Breaker Axe?
It's generally like minute three. We hit a big power spike. Well, especially Oracle does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think those starting mangoes, all they're doing is just the passive regen.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I think you could trade one out for a salve and then buy the next one.
and
Um,
send mangoes, you think?
yeah, or even if it's just one mango, I think that's fine. However many mangoes you want, but like you're not gonna hit that combo of spells till like level 2 or 3, and that means you have time to get the mango. But if this anti-mage were to get bullied out in the next, I don't know, little bit, how come we're not hearing the noises? It's kind of weird. Um,
A
if you were to get bullied out,
disappointment.
he doesn't have like you don't have your heal, and tangos are gonna take a while. And anti-mage is like a weak laner, so he needs to be able to play the lane at the start. To like, it's very common for him to buy a ring of health, and then at that point he's fine. But you need to make sure he can get to that point. And I think the starting salve against this kind of like strong lane is pretty important. But some lanes you don't need the salve early, and you can skip it. But when you have someone who's like pretty weak, like anti-mage, I think there's a lot of value in having it.
It's just a safety net for him.
Yeah, and you've seen your carry players, right? Like you have no idea what they're gonna do. They're gonna go lose all
Some,
their health for no reason.
sometimes like 5 seconds before it happens, I'm like, hey, step back. They can kill you now. I got a Salve coming. It's literally on my courier, like three
Yeah,
steps away from him. And, he just has to get that last creep and then he just gets blown up
for sure, for
all
sure.
the time.
Carry players also love letting the creep wave go into the tower. So as soon as you see that, what's going through your mind?
Need to set up for a pull, as in probably in this case, if it's pushing up enough, try to get a large camp pull.
Hmm.
Um, that's the quick one. But
Yeah,
yeah, just making sure something doesn't get blocked.
I would try to do a small camp pull if possible. I think it's a lot better. Uh, this Spirit Breaker is gonna make it a little difficult, but depending on the matchup, I would, as soon as I know I need to small pull, I might come over here and drop the sentry ahead of time. You had him cut the tree, I would just check to make sure it's not blocked. Because if it is blocked,
Yeah,
I'm not getting to do it for another minute. And
yeah.
if, depending on who you're against, you could then, like, you were worried about them pulling this hard camp, which I agree with. So if you, like, check here and then you walk over and body block it, you've accomplished, like, two things at once. Spirit
Mhm.
Breaker probably isn't going to let you do either of these. So it's at least recognize you want to do this. See if Spirit Breaker goes out of position. Because sometimes he'll come over here or like chase his Anti-Mage a bit. And you're just going to be like, hey, Anti-Mage, watch yourself for a little bit. I got to go make sure like this camp's alive and stuff. But maybe you have to help him. That's kind of the annoying part. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's what I worry about with AM. Like, he took the mana break first too. Like,
mhm.
I just have to like be on his butt until he actually has a way to escape.
Yeah, so actually see exactly here. Isn't he kind of low? It's like getting scary.
Yeah,
This is
Salve would feel nice.
Yeah, South would feel real nice right around here. And then the
Yeah,
trade
true
feels
that.
pretty good because I think he actually had his own South. So up to that point, the trade felt pretty good because like, okay, Anti-Mage loses a good amount of health, but Spirit Breaker loses a good amount of health, so he's not going to do too much. And if you can heal Anti-Mage up, then it's like, okay, we're pretty good here. We have two full health heroes versus one mostly healthy hero, Axe, and then a weak Spirit Breaker. In this case, Spirit Breaker salves, so if you both salved, it's just like back to laning. But now because you don't have a salve, it's like we're on the back foot for a while here.
While we're chewing on tangos, and I think if they're smart, they just need to be bodying the AM.
Yeah, and if you look at your items, you know, you've gotten the damage from the Fairy Fire with your right clicks, but like you still have 2 clarities, you still have 2 mangoes, so you didn't need them right away. But the salve has already shown, you know, some games you don't need the salve right away, but there's a much higher chance I feel like you need 1 salve versus 2 mangoes, 2 clarities. So you can usually cut something here out, unless you plan to spam out a bunch of spells like the Lich. Lich does do that, but Oracle isn't really a hero that like Fortune's Ends off cooldown, right? You kind of just like right click, and when they come too close, or like you have an aggressive partner, you go for it. But Antimage isn't really that hero. 117. Actually, let's go back real quick. You didn't have as much chance because Antimage went too far. This is like the annoying thing. But technically, if you leave right now, you could do a half pull. And so like depending on the situation, in this game I understand why you miss it because you are kind of helping the Anti-Mage. But other games, like right around now, if you could make your way to the half pull, that would fix your issue of the creeps going under tower earlier. Denying off 2 creeps, plus you've now denied some stuff from the enemy, so like you start to get the lead. You're probably not going to get a kill off of that because Axe and Spirit Breaker are pretty tanky, but if you're at least in the levels a level up, then you're not likely to die. Specifically this Anti-Mage, right? He's at least going to get to blink away, hopefully, and not feed while you're trying to do something else.
So basically, if I had a salve, I wouldn't need to be like shitting my pants worrying about him dying, and then I could actually do a pull.
Yeah.
Like right now, my whole focus is like,
I
if
have
they get
to be
even
near
close to him, I just need to hit them back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now at this point,
yes, a large camp, I could have hit the aggro, the one on the side, right?
Yeah, you could go for that, or I would say now that he's hit level 2, God, he better have blink. Okay.
Spell resist for the all physical lane. Okay.
Yeah. Now that he has blink, he should be fine on his own. And even if you were to take a lot of damage, again, if you hadn't used your salve before, this is where it's like, hey, look, you took some damage, I'll salve you up, it's fine. Right now is the time you got to walk over here to stack this. So we didn't get a chance to do a half pull. We don't want to pull at 47 because then the camp won't respawn. But we're going to have to fix this eventually, right? We're going to play this out, but it's going to keep pushing up here. And a good off lane could balance it out here. Maybe it comes under tower, resets itself, but you don't know if that's going to happen or not. But if you stack this here, you know if they don't screw up, I can fix this. Because actually, if the lane's here, it's very easy to do a pull then, because they're all the way over here, right? And then even if this Anti-Mage is feeling bullied out, he can come farm this while you come over here or something. But then it's kind of okay. You've pushed a bunch of experience to them, but then you deny some out. And so even if you guys back away from here for a little bit and miss a couple creeps, it equals out because you've denied some stuff, and then you're going to fix equilibrium, and it's going to come back here.
Okay.
This is exactly why I say, like, in Divine, I feel like I rose up through just a bunch of pulls. Like, I was always thinking about pulls. The second the game started, I was thinking, as much as possible, 117, I want to do a half pull, and I will go from there. And the reason you can do a half pull at that time is because it doesn't matter. It's like, there's a very few cases where it would be bad to do a half pull at 117. If your lane's at equilibrium, like, you won't affect the equilibrium because you're only killing 2 and you're still sending 2 forward. So the enemy creeps won't die. Well, they will die to the tower, but it's fine because your entire creep wave died too. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the lane, especially if I got a stack off at 2 minutes. It just meant I got to do so much. So this is why the hard camp pull is not going to be as good. We can let's zoom out and watch it like this. Axe doesn't even know you pulled yet, and he's like at the edge of experience.
Right.
And so he may not be getting these last hits, and this may fix equilibrium a bit, but you aren't denying experience. And we did say we're worried about them using the hard camp, which we've now had to like stack.
Stack now.
And
yeah,
this is an Axe, right? Who's going to clear this stack in this lane first? It's probably this Axe with counter Helix. So now you've created this extra obstacle you have to keep in mind, where it's like, if I don't see Axe for a little bit, he could be farming this hard camp. And it's like, maybe I can steal some last hits or experience, but then I got to like walk out here, like this way somewhere, and then like Spirit Breaker could charge you, and like this isn't too far here, but it could still be scary.
Right.
And so now you're just
What
gonna
was
like,
my? I was just curious. What did I send out on courier? I just look at my buy.
oh yeah. Yeah, now you
Oh,
have
I
the
got a
South,
south.
and you'll
Okay.
notice you still got 1 clarity, still got the 2 mangoes.
Fair.
Hmm.
Well, I got the passive regen ticking.
That's true.
But
That's why like I'm
oh, I
okay.
sent I actually sent an extra set of tangos as well. That's what it looks like.
Oh yeah, I see. All right, this is great. Yeah, see, look how great this feels, right? If he didn't have this salve, what can he do? He can't really do anything for like another minute. And that same
Yeah.
scenario happened like at the start.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also,
Yeah. I actually have a. I was just gonna say something. Like I have a
Mhm.
friend. He's a pos 5 immortal, and he was saying like sometimes he just buys double salve and he just like trades the shit out of them, and he just because he brought more regen, his carry has more space when they're really weak.
Mhm.
I'm wondering
I've
if that
I've
ever is a
started
tactic.
I've started trying that a bit too, cuz think about what you were doing with Lich. How much money did you spend on mangoes to spam them out, right? You spent so much
Mhm.
money on mangoes, and you spent like 200 and like 280 gold on mangoes. Lich Q does 125 damage, which reduced, we'll just say 100. So it costs you 4 mangoes to do 400 damage, and a salve is 400 gold. So anytime the enemy has to harass you through spell spamming, I think buying multiple salves can be pretty legit. Probably not more than
Mm,
like 2. You should probably like keep it to 2 for a bit. Like you can buy more after that, but probably not like I'm gonna go to lane with 4 salves. You know. Um,
so the counterplay to the Lich lane is just like double salve, or a counterplay to like Disruptor lane is like double salve.
I think so. I can't say that 100% certainty, but that's kind of what I've been testing a little bit. Is just buying a lot of regen because I know they're gonna spam out spells and then
Hmm.
you just regen. But you have to keep
Hmm.
the. I think what they can do is then just not use spells, and then they're getting passive regen and you're not getting anything with like too many salves. So that's why you can't go overboard on it. You have to like keep it balanced and be ready to buy more salves. A common mistake that people make is like they buy a tango or two, they buy the salve, and they're like, "That's all the regen I'm allowed to purchase this game," you know. But if you're prepared to buy the next salve pretty quickly, if you see the Lich spamming you out, then it's like, I've already got the next one on the way. I'm good to go.
Right. In the past, where I've started games with salves, like the moment I use it on my carry, I generally just ship out another one and just have it handy, like instantly. If I
Hmm.
pop it on someone, then just have a second one ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's not
Seems
a
to.
not a bad practice. Definitely, you can consider like where you're there at the itemization. Like if they're close to getting a ring of health or something, you may not need that second salve. But
Right.
definitely,
Right.
like in this case, Antimage needed it at the very start. I think
Hmm.
I'd love seeing another salve on the way.
Understood.
So what I wanted to go back here for axe kill. He's chasing a little bit. Okay, he gives up. You salve him. What should you think about right now?
Stack the small cap probably.
Yeah,
That's
boy,
the
look
theme I'm getting.
look at this timing. It's like so perfect, so convenient. There's you can report the anti-mage if he dies here, right? You just salved him. There's no excuse to die to this spirit breaker. Don't actually report him, but you know what I mean, right? You're like,
Yes.
bro, how did you die like against a spirit breaker? So you can absolutely leave him alone right now. He's got 4 creeps fighting the spirit breaker. He's healing up with the salve. You run straight to the small camp. The timing's a little close here, but maybe you use a spell and that's fine. You stack it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy.
You hit it probably like I don't know. You can go this way even if you want in case you're worried about them stacking, but in this case you could see that he's not, so you don't have to. You could just
Okay.
like do whatever stack you can, and then you've got a
So
stacked camp.
okay. Guess what I do? I poo poo on my lane.
Another hard pull.
Oh no! I stacked it 3 times.
Yeah. So like this one. So actually, let's go back before. Let's actually talk through this. So what made you feel like you needed to pull this hard camp?
I just wanted to fix the equilibrium fast.
Mm-hmm. So that's not the.
The other thing though is I know the SB is kind of low.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know at this point I can zone him off the dying wave.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to defend this because I think it's wrong. I should have gone and stacked the small camp.
Yeah. If
I was
you
trying to fix equilibrium, but I was too slow to get the small camp stacked.
Yeah. If you had the small camp stacked, I think it would be a lot more obvious what to do here. Plus, you'd already be here, and then you'd be like, oh, because, I mean, look at the difference in time. it's pulling this creep wave here at 3 minutes versus this creep wave at 17 seconds, the one that's going to spawn
Yeah.
next.
And
So,
it shouldn't impact the AM because he's healthy and the
mhm.
SB is low, so
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
reason not to.
Exactly. Axe is going to come back, and it's like, oh, what if I leave him 2v1? I mean, the guy's got Blink. He's full health versus someone who's half health. And this isn't like a burst lineup, right? Axe and Spirit Breaker, they don't burst kill you unless they somehow like call you in the creep waves and
Unless
get lucky.
17% becomes 100%.
Yeah. So they need like really good RNG to randomly burst someone down. And it's Antimage's fault if he's in the creep wave and gets called, right? It's not excusable. um
I've truly been scarred, I think, by some of the carries in this bracket. Like,
Yeah,
I've
that's
actually
why,
been scarred.
dude. That's why you don't have to have them do anything. You just do like these half pulls, these small pulls. The equilibrium stays here, and you're like, dude, follow your carry instincts. Just stand here and last hit. You don't have to do anything. I'll take care of you, and you just like do all this for them. So because you do this hard pull, yeah, look at that Axe. Oh my God! Speaking of jumping into the middle of a call, thank God he's only level 2. And that kind of like shows it, right? Your carry does something dumb, but because you're higher level, this guy can't capitalize on it. That's actually like kind of convenient. But now you see how this is like kind of messy a lane, right? Maybe you guys were baiting this Earth Spirit.
Yeah, he said he was keeping it, so
all right.
kind of went. But no, it's sloppy.
All right, what do you think you should do right now?
Cleaning up the run to the small camp.
Run
and
to the
stack it,
small
you idiot.
camp.
Oh my God.
Every time, so this is one of the things you can take from this. Anytime you get a kill or you get someone really low, because if they're really low, they can't really contest, right? Otherwise they die. So it's like almost the same as killing them. Anytime you get a kill or someone's low, look at the time and think about pulls or stacks. And it's like, can I capitalize on this? Because they're low, they can't really lane well. And because they're low, they can't stop you from doing a pull. And if they try, you're going to get a kill. And you're like, oh no, I didn't pull, but I got a kill. I guess I'll take that, right?
That's my attitude here. I'm like, well, it seems like it's going okay. Not going to the small camp. Might as well keep doing this shit.
So let's see what you do, right? Can't Antimage do all this on his own? Like the
what am I doing?
The denies and last hits?
Yes.
And so by the time we get here, we've missed the chance to stack. We can maybe do like the small pull. Let's see. It looks like you're thinking about it. You're gonna pull the whole wave. 3. Were you do you remember? Were you trying to pull the whole wave or not?
Generally these days I do. I don't remember what I was trying to do. But if I only got 3, I was probably doing the half pull, attempting to anyway. I still miss that timing. Like I pull at 19 and I stand to the left a little bit, and depending on what creep it is, like I actually think the one that actually failed here is an easy camp to get 2 creeps on because of the projectile. But I should probably just send a lobby and work on the different camps and try to get half pulls.
It's funny. I'm working on the small camp video now. I mean, not literally right now, but like right now. So it's something I was doing, and in my example of how to practice it, I failed twice. Dude, I feel like I need to redo that section because it looks bad if I screw it up. But it's true. It's something like even I need to practice again and like touch up on it because it's kind of hard to get the timing right. So
It depends on the camp too. It's like it's the craziest thing. It's like the mega kobolds, like the 5 group.
yeah,
Like that's a totally different beast than like the god tier like 3 like the 3 cobalt, like the gray guys. I don't even know what they're
the Ghoul
called.
assassins.
Yeah, those guys are amazing because
Yeah.
you can get your half pull easily,
And
and yeah, they murk the creep wave too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't pull the whole creep wave, honestly, I think that's like okay. But actually, what I'll tell you right now, you don't even need to pull this wave.
Because it's a big push coming in.
Exactly. So like Antimage is about to have to tank a bunch, and it's kind of okay because he's got the ring of health and double ring of regen.
It's 11.8.
Yeah, he's got like crazy regen here. But then if you had, so actually it works out that you pulled out 3. If you had pulled 4, at least 1 creep's gonna survive.
Right.
Even if, well, actually, technically Oracle, you probably could do like some purifying flame stuff, but then you have to use some mana.
Yeah.
That's not the greatest. And that means
I do have that clarity from the minute 05. So
there you go.
I get the value. Yeah.
There you go. So if you had pulled, actually, we can just play it. So what would happen is that, well, I guess not if you go on the Spirit Breaker. But yeah, he's like missing some creeps, right? He didn't want to actually play aggressive right here. He just wants to farm. So it's gonna happen now where this almost completely dies to the tower. And what's happening now? If this,
Pushing out again.
yeah, if they hadn't done this, I don't know what happened here. This pull, and if Axe isn't a hero that just like always counter pushes, you're pushing again here.
Yeah.
So if you had let that creep wave go, it would have stayed here for a long time. You guys don't need to fight. Axe wasn't even in the lane yet, so he's gonna miss some of that XP anyways. And then you still have your stacked camp to do the next pull and actually deny those when, you know, if Antimage has to tank 4 creeps, like, fine. But when he has to tank, like, 8 creeps against Axe Spirit Breaker, in this case, you guys are okay, because, like, you've got 3 down here. But that sounds scary, right? That's 2 heroes that are willing to dive with a huge creep wave. So...
Yeah, it was setting up a... It's like your tower video, too. It's like, you don't pull that thing when you have imminent tower pressure coming in. So the lane's probably in a worse position now that small camp pull. You know what? Is like, I've neglected the small camp all game. Felt like I need to pull it, but it was a stupid pull.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even look at the lane, honestly, when I pulled it.
Yeah, it's what I definitely recommend everyone gets in the habit of. Anytime before you do a pull, take a look. Especially because, like, if you're keeping an eye on the timing and you're like, oh, I should go pull now, and you leave here, this is like 5 seconds. 5 to 10 seconds, depending on how slow your hero is, to walk from here to here. And in that time, you can easily, like, look here, and you can change your mind, right? Even if you hit this camp and you start walking down, you can still check in, like, those few seconds. You can be like, actually, I don't need to pull. And then you just, like, you tank a bit of damage, but you don't do the pull. So even up to, like, the very last second, up to, like, around here, you still have the choice to not pull. And that's why it's, like, what I'm trying to get in the habit. I usually do it when I'm like walking over, but I'm trying to get in the habit of after I attack this camp and I like walk down here, I try to look at the lane one more time and decide, okay, this is still a good idea. Do the pull.
Yeah, just a final fail-safe check.
Exactly. Or you like look over and you see like they've nuked the wave like 4 times and you're like, oh, I don't need to pull anymore, and you stop it.
Right.
Just to make sure you're getting like exactly what you want. But usually, if you see you need to pull and you walk over and you do it, that's usually okay. But it's just like the next level of that.
All right, time to make use of the camera hotkey. Set the camera position.
Honestly, I always try to use them. I cannot like. It's hard for me to incorporate it in, but in theory, I think it's a good idea, right? Like you said, you just like camera position the lane so you like check real quick. But I've never been able to get in the habit.
Yeah, it's too weird. It's like a non-Dota 1 mechanic. I don't know.
So
it took me like years to get into quick casting.
That takes a while. So I'm gonna go back here a little bit. So Antimage is probably okay on his own right now, right?
Yeah, he seems good. I should maybe look to play top.
So it would be nice to give him a ward somewhere here. Against a Spirit Breaker, I know that this tends to get de-warded, but this is like the ideal Spirit Breaker ward to see him like coming in from like the fountain or leaving to go like mid or from mid, that kind of stuff.
The hill ward?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, the hill ward. Another good spot is like back here because you run through the trees and ward there. Because
yeah, I like that ward. It doesn't get picked up too often by sentries.
Yeah. So I like that one, or like over here, or like over here. One of those, any of those spots to make Antimage feel a little more comfortable, and then walking away, I think is fine after that. But so I went too far. All right, one more time. So why are you walking back to Fountain right now?
I think I'm too low on mana resources to like have I don't think I can regen it up off just clarities. I felt like I was gonna rotate like and use my TP and head to top. Let's see if I do that. I'm gonna like eat my words if I TP bot again.
What else could you do right now? Even if you go to Fountain, what else could you do right now?
Stack.
Yeah.
There's a large camp right there I could have stacked on my way back.
Yeah, you can either stack this one or this one. I think Oracle has a hard time doing double stacks, especially at night when you can't see the camps.
Yeah, you need a ground targeted thing, I think, to get that stack.
Yeah, so one camp is fine. Yeah.
This large camp should have been stacked. That's definitely.
And then I do feel like you don't. So your plan was to go back to Fountain and then TP out. So what's the issue with that?
Oh, I guess if I burn the TP, I can't respond to another gank somewhere else.
Is this a game where you think people might get ganked a lot?
Yes.
Yeah? Why? Because they have a spirit breaker?
SB, tiny,
Yeah.
very active heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in these kind of games, as a general habit, it's good, but especially in this kind of game where like they have the heroes to gank, you want to be ready to respond because the Oracle's actually really good at responding to ganks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you just burn a TP for no reason, then you know you can't. So yeah, this would be like stacking the camp right now, and then the courier meets you, and you pick up the clarity. So at this point, I guess you can go to the fountain, but then walk out instead of TP. But if you
Yeah.
had the clarity already, like let's say you had it sooner, I think you could stack, pop the clarity, and then just walk top and save yourself
Yeah.
the time. It's a little more expensive, but you're in your next location faster, and you still have the TP. And you know, if you the clarity will get you about to like half to 2/3 plus your like regular regen. So I don't know why it's bugged with the fountain buff, but yeah. So let's see what you do.
Let's see what I do. I'm watching the lanes.
TP
I'm like, oh,
bottom.
he's being gone on. Oh.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with this because he was getting gone on, and this is like exactly why you need it, right? To be able to save this anti-mage when he like gets called in the creeps for whatever reason.
Yeah, I do think the idea there with that walk back was like I think bot's doing okay-ish. Like if I can, I'd like to free myself and go top. But oh yeah, he just dies here.
I don't know. He shouldn't die there.
But yeah, sometimes I do feel like might be wrong here, but I feel like occasionally when my mana bar is too low, it doesn't seem worthwhile. Like it takes too long. Like I'm kind of like dead weight in the lane anyway for too long, and I'd rather just go back and regen up that mana. Like that's when I'm like completely dry. Like I normally wouldn't do it if I was like still like a quarter or like a half.
If you are so by the time you were here, then it's kind of okay, right? If you're near the fountain, like in this area, it's like not such a yeah. You can go home to the fountain because it's not too big of a deal. But walking from, do you know how long it takes to get from here to the fountain?
What, like 30 seconds, 35 seconds?
Depending on your move speed, if you're at around 300, it takes 40 seconds.
Okay.
So it's kind of a long time to spend like walking to fountain. And then, like we said, if you don't want to TP out, then it's another 40 seconds to like walk somewhere. So it sounds like weird, but the answer is typically to not let yourself get so low. So it's like you try to preemptively buy like a clarity or a mana, like some kind of like Sage's Mask, raindrop, stuff like that, and not fall that low as much as possible so that you don't have to go home. Of course, it'll still happen sometimes, but like I know we've gone over it a couple times, but like if we watch you, like let's look at your money and look at your item. So you use your clarity here. So now you should be thinking like, if I use all my mana in another engagement, I'm not gonna be able to do anything. So like with your money right here, you could be buying a clarity and having it come over right away because you're still full health.
I'm so close to boots. When should I save for boots?
It's true, but like you said,
like I want boots for this lane though, don't I? Like I don't want to get walked at by Axe and SB and stuff. I don't know. Like usually when I'm in the 400 range, I'm just like, I'm doing it. Like I want my boots.
What I would say then is what you said earlier. When you have no mana, it feels like you can't do anything. So I don't care that you can walk away from the Axe and the Spirit Breaker. You can't help your anti-mage when they're going on him because you have no mana. So
True that.
I think that's why. But I tell you what, you would have the gold if you did some of these pulls sooner.
No cap.
It all builds up, right? Let's see. Yeah, oh god, it is tempting, huh? Boots. Okay, steal one more last hit, right? Then you can get boots and a clarity. Boots and clarity, you go to stack, and then you can like run to a lane, right? So from like 540 is when you started walking home, and then like let's see when you do something again is when you had to TP out.
Yeah.
So it did end up being about 40 seconds, and it's like it's okay in this case because you came over.
I just felt upset that I had to come back to the safe lane.
I don't think it's too bad if you like Like if Antimage needs it, you need to help him, right? It's how the hero works. If he needs help, you still gotta help him.
Yeah.
And the whole logic of walking away from the lane is to be able to TP back. So
Hmm.
if you had to TP here again, I don't really mind. It's unfortunate he
Yeah,
died even
there was.
after you came,
Oh, I know.
but
I mean, there was no other lane for me to TP to. It
mhm,
definitely was bot.
yeah,
But yeah, he got poo pooed on. It's okay. I got my XP going.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he should have died. I think your TP should have been enough to save him. Let's see. Against Tide Mirana. So actually, what I saw, I don't know if you know, it came out today. I watched Fly play Ancient Apparition.
You level Q, not E. I think that's correct, right?
No, he
Or
still won E. He still won
he
E.
still went E? Oh.
Yeah. But he was against Mars and Mirana, and he skipped this Clarity, skipped this Mango. I think he skipped the South too. He had like a Sentry to block. I think against, so that's the first thing, against Mirana and
Yeah, the
Tide
large
actually
camp.
block this
Yeah,
hard
large
camp.
camp.
Probably put the Sentry back here is really common. And then I'm okay with the salve if you want it, since like if she lands an arrow, one of you is gonna take like a bunch of damage. But also, if you're willing to take the bet, it's kind of like if she doesn't hit the arrow, none of us are gonna take a huge amount of damage right away.
Hmm.
Like it'll be a slow chip battle with the Mirana Tidehunter. So you could skip this salve, and then I don't think you really need mana regen at the start, especially if you take Chilling Touch because it's a low mana cost. So you
Yeah,
could,
it's impossible to use your mana pool if you do chilling touch level
yeah, it
1.
takes like ages. So he went 3 Iron Branches, Fairy Fire, Sentry, uh, and then he just like never stopped right clicking, had the camp blocked, and it worked out really well for him. Unfortunately, Tide can, if he gets Kraken Shell, but it's not common for him to take it level 1, I feel like. So,
I do a lot of trading with the plus 4. I could see like
mhm,
having those extra stats being high value
yeah,
in this early lane here.
let's see.
I did take E level 1. Okay.
I think that's fine. I don't know where Mirana is right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to scope her out, I think.
Did you block this camp? Looks like you are.
No, I left.
Did you? I think you
I
left.
think I
I
did.
think you left. I think you were there long enough. Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
You're
okay.
good.
Thank God. Thank God.
All right. What
I'm
made you walk?
tweaking.
What made you walk over here? What were you thinking about?
Sorry, just now from the right.
What am I thinking about right now?
I want to know where the bottom is.
What else?
Uh, small camp pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Could you move the camera up a little bit? I just want to look at the creeps.
Mhm.
I mean, it's pushing into our tower.
No, sorry. It's because it's free cam. The red ones are yours right now.
Oh, okay. Correction. Oh, sorry. Correction. It's going the other way around.
Yeah.
And we need distance to have Razor play his lane effectively. Like we need it close to our tower so that he can chase.
Mhm.
Yeah. We gotta get
Anything? Anything else? There's one more thing I'm thinking about.
the.
You kind of mentioned it, but I don't know if you connected the implications of what I'm about to say.
Mm, what did I say? I want to know where
You're,
Potom is.
yeah.
I want to pull the small camp, and
If you don't know where Potom is, so God knows where she is. It's a pub game. If it's a 2v1 lane, you need to punish the Tide hard, right?
yeah, okay, yeah,
And Razor in a one-on-one with Tide should be absolutely fine.
yeah. You know, he should be all over it.
In fact, it's kind of bad that you guys are pushing. I don't even know how this happened. I think he aggroed the creeps with the attempt. Oh, it's because Tide blocked one forward. I see. Okay. That's actually another thing. As soon as you see that, you know it's gonna push a bit, because you guys didn't do any kind of like block. So that's another reason to think about the small camp already. But then, like Mirana's not showing, and it's like, okay, I really don't know what she's doing. I agree with you. It's like we want to find out where she is, and in the meantime, if she doesn't show up for whatever reason, she's a jungle Mirana or whatever, like I'm pulling. I'm doing a bunch of pulls as much as I can because this guy cannot be in both locations on his own. And if you
Like
can,
we need to punish this. Yeah.
and all the more reason why I want to do first a half pull because I want this camp to stack. Right? If this camp is stacked, I have a lot more potential to deny creeps from this Tidehunter. So that's why it's like a half pull first, so that something is alive, so I can stack it, and then from there I'm good. If you do, I mean, the half pull is just good in general because it does split him up, and he doesn't know what to do. And if you did a full pull, it would die. You don't get to stack, and then it lowers our potential to deny stuff from this Tidehunter.
So you say formulaically almost, if offered the opportunity and space, which I currently have, no bottom in sight, always attempt a half pull at the 117. It sounds like there's no disadvantages to do it.
Yeah, unless your lane is like super screwed up, like right off the bat, the advantage of, so in a single instance, the half pull can only deny 2 creeps, whereas a full pull could deny more. If you're, especially if you're there to like hit your own creeps, you could deny usually up to 3, and occasionally if they hit your range creep first, then you can actually deny the whole wave, but it's like pretty rare for that to happen.
You have to have the god camp.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
it has to have like nail your range creep too.
Yeah, so if for whatever reason you have like one chance to pull and it needs to be as impactful as possible, then the full pull is better. But in the long run, then the half pull has a higher potential to deny more things.
Right. Like a full pull is like my carry's not even getting anything anymore, and I need to
Yeah.
fix this immediately.
Yeah. The other issue with a half pull is that you have to do 2 pulls, so you're here more often. But that's not an
Yes.
issue in a 2v1 lane, and when your carry beats the offlaner. Because it's like,
Yes.
I actually do not need to be here, right? If this is a 1v1, Razor has no excuse to really lose this lane, unless I
Right.
misunderstand this matchup. But I feel like he should bully this Tide out.
It plays out that way. I'm off on the side a bit more, and
Mhm.
then he's just kind of marking his territory on that tide.
Let's see. So we bully Mirana a bit. We use that to block. Yeah. All right. So see,
I didn't even get the stack off. I was pissed.
I don't
I
even.
think
I don't even know what's possible. I don't think you can do the. I don't think you can pull and stack.
right. Probably like trying to do the half pull, and then I think I had the idea in my head. I was like, maybe I can aggro it, but no.
Yeah, it's. I think it's really tough to do. Maybe it's possible. I think it's extremely difficult to do though. So this is kind of like a case in point example why it's a little better to do the 117 than the 47. And then he's doing all right. Yeah. Yeah, so Tide's getting like a little more than he should. Like I don't even think it should be 11 to 8 when Tide was like by himself the first minute and stuff. Okay, it's stacked now.
What am I doing? Oh wait, no, I don't need to because it's where we want it, right?
Depends how you want to think about it. Oh, looks like you're looking mid lane. If you just want to keep denying this guy because you don't know where Mirana is, I think you could do the full pull and just like deny off 4 creeps right here. And there's enough creeps here that he probably stands here without realizing what you've done, and then he's like, oh no, he walks over, but they're dead because you got the ghost camp, and the ghost is gonna like slay. But if you had someone like a weaker laner, then yeah, I think this equilibrium's okay, so you don't need to do a full pull. You don't have to pull at all. If you want, you could do a half pull here. But because you have like a strong laner, I think you could just go for like the full dominance play, try to deny as much as possible, completely outlevel this guy, and then you can leave super early, right? If this Razor's like 2 or 3 levels over the Tide, you're actually not needed, as long as Mirana isn't here too much, and so far we've seen her not be here that much.
I think I do the full pull. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. Actually, we can see it play out, right? By the time she gets here, at least 1 creep has died, so she already won't get the full experience. And over here, Razor can pull this under the tower. He's getting like the full experience. And Tide, like by the time he gets here, maybe he got some of that ranged creep, but for the most part, he missed everything else. And what do we see? He's like 3 and a little bit. Razor's 4 and a little bit. So right now, Razor's 1 level up. But he could be higher. And actually, this position's pretty good for you guys, where the lane is right now. Now this is gonna push, unfortunately.
I tried stacking it.
Oh, it would have been nice. So this is gonna push. So you have like 2 choices. You can either look to play aggressively here, or do another pull like this. Yeah. But unfortunately, this camp's a little weakened. So it's not going to create free courier kill. This is gonna keep pushing now, actually, a little bit. This is a little awkward.
Am I going for the bounty? What am I doing?
I think you're going for the bounty. This ended up being a little weird, actually. Let's go back. Trying to figure out where you needed to not pull. So like I'm okay with this.
I think if I got that pull off, the stack off right here.
Yeah,
How do I miss it?
if this stack had gone off, you'd be okay. They just like body blocked themselves a little bit. The issue is that the next creep wave walked under the tower actually.
Right. So it's pushing out now.
Yeah, Razor actually just needed to let this creep wave. Here, go back real quick. I think this creep wave needed to die under tower, and this creep wave meets out here, and then this would have been perfect for you guys. It's equilibrium now, but because this creep wave actually walked into the tower, now you guys are gonna push, and then this camp's like not ready to be used.
Do you think high-level carry players think about that a lot more?
They
So,
better.
where they were. Okay.
Yeah, I think they should, because right now what's gonna happen now is that it's just gonna push, right? And there's not much you can do because this isn't stacked anymore. And this is actually weaker than a single camp, really, because they've taken some damage. So I actually don't think you can do a full pull here. I think you have to do like a half pull. And then you'll deny 2 creeps. That'll help de-push your lane a little bit. And then you have the chance to stack it again, and then you can fix it later.
Right.
But doing this full pull means that... Well, actually, it's not the worst that it's a full pull either, because you just need to like help deny these creeps, and then this will restack later. Because the lane was pushing enough that like, if these 2 creeps were dead, like, this lane doesn't push any more than it already was.
Right.
So that full pull was okay if you, like, spend more time denying these creeps.
If I hit them all the way back. Is it bounty time, though? Let me see.
Yeah, now it's bounty time, and you're here for it. But I think you still could have hit the creeps a little bit, and still made it for the bounty rune. It's starting to balance out now, so now it's okay. I wouldn't pull this catapult one.
I'm glad I missed.
I guess with this lane, it's probably okay, but it's just like a little safer to not do. And then you can pull.
Do it, yeah.
You can either pull the next one or stack it here. So I'd probably stack it. Looks like you are. Yeah. Okay.
The god camp.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. So yeah, from here, you are winning this lane, and I just think you could have won even a little harder. Which is weird to say when the guy has like 10 last hits, I know, but like, especially in that like first minute when he's like here by himself, already thinking about like this stacking and everything. I think that would have been really good, and you can potentially leave this lane all the sooner and come down here. Because this looks like a close lane where you can have like a lot of impact by throwing.
It's a really good lane too, because they all synergize well with A.
Yeah. It's all about the small pull. Okay, yeah, this pull's fine. Yeah. So, to kind of summarize this whole session, it's all, like, always thinking about pulling. It doesn't mean, like, you're here all the time, but, like, it should always be on your mind to look for a chance to pull, in Divine, at least. Because at this level, your carry should hopefully be smart enough not to die too often. They still will, but
yeah,
the chances are that they play it safe while you do like a half pull or a full pull or stacked, whatever, is better than at lower ranks. And if you win the laning stage as a Divine, your carries are usually good enough to like keep that advantage. You know, let's say like 70% of the time. It means you still lose, but at least in most games, it should like be good for you.
Yeah, I just to be real, like I think, how do I describe it? Like I go through like phases of like what I want to emphasize, but I'm not like adding it all together. You know what I mean?
I see.
Like there's definitely been periods where I've emphasized the small camp a lot more. But I've also been like fucking scarred by my carries just getting like pummeled. So, Um. Okay.
Do you think you should
But
be pulling this right now, by the way?
no,
Yeah.
definitely not. It
You
should
know what you
be.
should be?
Should be. Hmm. 650. I could stack the medium camp off to the right.
Yeah, you could.
Um.
I would say you could just stack this small camp too. Instead of
Oh yeah.
pulling in
True. True.
theory,
True.
you just like walk out so it runs home and then you hit it and stack it.
True. True. Yeah. I don't know why I'm pulling that over. Doesn't make sense.
It might work out, but I think what'll happen is that this wave will end
We'll
up
end up
under
under
tower,
Yeah.
and then yeah, you're actually pushing now.
That was a very poo-poo decision.
Yeah, sometimes like small stuff. This is why it's like it's tough. Like pulling can really impact what happens, right? So because you like this one mistake to do this pull actually just gave Tide like 8 more CS potentially, right? Because when it comes over here, he can get the last hits. When it's over here, he's not getting shit. Actually, you killed him, so it works out.
But no, but if it wasn't a Razor, like let's just say generic, useless,
generic anti-mage,
carry, like they can't do anything there. Yeah.
And that's why like pulling is like a really powerful tool, but it's dangerous. You can this is 8 creeps, 6 creeps, I guess 7, whatever, into the off lane, where like if the lane always stays here, they get almost nothing. Razor stands on this side, you're over here always doing like good pulls, then like they get very little out of this lane. But anytime you guys push like this, it gets all out of whack, and Tide's getting, funny enough, he's at 11 last hits, but he's still getting more than he needs to be if this balanced out over here.
Right. So these like I think these mistakes only like look less bad right now because it's a Razor safe lane.
Exactly.
And if it was anything else, like then he has mega breathing room to catch up there.
And if you like on the other side of it, if you do this stuff well, like it may not look that impressive when you have like an anti-mage or like Spectre and it doesn't feel that great, but then when you have a Razor and suddenly your Razor's like 3 levels over the Tide and you're like in the bottom lane at like level 3, you're like, I crushed that lane, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think like this kind of stuff is so important. What you should do the next couple of games you play, what I want you to think about every single game. First, try to think about the items a little bit. We talked about that. But then really just look to do every single game. I don't even care if it's good or not. You don't have to understand that right now. Every game, try to do a half pull at 117, stack it, and then go from there. You can decide what to do. But like having that kind of set plan going in helps you not like you said, you look at the replay, you know what you do, you go into the game, you don't do any of it. So it's like having that plan will help you and it's not just a random plan, right? We think that's good to do. So you're just going to do it. And by doing it, you're going to see why it's good, but you'll also see when it's not good. And then you'll learn it. But the only way you do that is by actually doing it every single game and always thinking about it. So the game plan is 117, look for a half pull. If you don't get the half pull, or if you do, try to stack it at the next minute. After that, I'll leave the pulling up to you to what you understand about pulling and balancing out the wave. But you should always be thinking about it. Every time you get a kill, every time you like look at the equilibrium, you should be like, can I go make use of this small camp yet? And if you can, try it. But like make that the focus. Always be looking for a way to capitalize on this pulling idea in the lane as soon as possible too.